The real sins of Sodom and Gomorrah. The story of Sodom and Gomorrah is one of the most well-known and often one of the most misunderstood narratives in the entire Bible. For many, the name Sodom immediately conjures images of fire and brimstone and a singular, devastating judgment. And while the judgment was indeed catastrophic, the common understanding of why it happened is often far too narrow. Today, we're going to unpack the real sins of Sodom and Gomorrah, moving beyond the popular perception to uncover the full, complex picture that the Bible paints. This isn't just about ancient history. It's about understanding God's justice, His patience, and timeless lessons that resonate even in our world today. When most people hear Sodom, they often jump to a single, specific sin as the sole reason for its destruction. While a particular sexual sin was indeed a part of Sodom's depravity, the biblical text, particularly through the prophets, gives us a much broader and more nuanced understanding of their wickedness. The story is found primarily in Genesis, chapters 18 and 19. It recounts how God decided to destroy the cities due to their grievous sin, sending angels to investigate. Lot, Abraham's nephew, resided in Sodom and offered hospitality to these visitors. To truly grasp the real sins of Sodom, we must turn to the prophet Ezekiel. He provides a direct and explicit indictment that broadens our understanding far beyond a singular focus. Ezekiel 16:49-50 states, and I quote, "Now this was the sin of your sister Sodom. She and her daughters were arrogant, overfed, and unconcerned. They did not help the poor and needy. They were haughty and did detestable things before me." Let's break down each element of Ezekiel's powerful statement. Pride and arrogance. They were arrogant and haughty. Abundance and idleness. They were overfed and unconcerned. Neglect of the vulnerable. Crucially, they did not help the poor and needy. Detestable things. Finally, Ezekiel adds that they did detestable things before me. So, while the sexual sin was indeed detestable, it was part of a larger, systemic moral decay rooted in pride, complacency, and a shocking lack of care for others. The narrative in Genesis 19, which often becomes the sole focus, gains immense clarity when viewed through Ezekiel's lens. The men of Sodom's demand to know Lot's visitors was not just a sexual assault. It was also a profound breach of sacred, ancient Near Eastern hospitality. In that culture, protecting and honoring guests was a fundamental duty. This act demonstrated not only sexual depravity, but also an extreme lack of compassion, hostility toward strangers, and a complete breakdown of sacred social codes. Their wickedness was an affront to both man and God. Before the destruction, Genesis 18 reveals a crucial detail: Abraham's intercession for the cities. He pleads with God, asking if God would destroy the righteous along with the wicked, bargaining from 50 down to 10 righteous people. This extraordinary conversation demonstrates God's profound patience and His justice. He was willing to spare the entire cities, not just for a few righteous individuals, but for even a mere 10. This context profoundly emphasizes just how utterly corrupt and devoid of righteousness the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah had become to warrant such an extreme judgment. Their depravity was absolute. The story of Sodom also touches on Lot's questionable choices. His desperation leads him to offer his own daughters to the mob, a testament to the moral degradation, even among those trying to be righteous in such a wicked environment. And of course, Lot's wife, unable to resist looking back at the destruction, becomes a pillar of salt. Even in their escape, the pervasive moral decay is evident in Lot's daughter's subsequent actions in the cave. The story of Sodom and Gomorrah is far more complex and sobering than a single-issue condemnation. It's a powerful warning against arrogance, spiritual apathy, the selfish accumulation of wealth, and a shocking indifference to the suffering of others. The detestable things ultimately included sexual perversion, but they were symptoms of a deeper, systemic moral corruption rooted in pride, lack of compassion, and a complete disregard for God's laws and human dignity. The lessons from Sodom are timeless. They challenge us to examine not only individual behaviors, but also the collective character of our societies. Are we overfed and unconcerned? Do we help the poor and needy? Are we arrogant in our prosperity? These are the questions the story of Sodom and Gomorrah truly calls us to confront. What new insights did you gain about the sins of Sodom and Gomorrah? Share your thoughts respectfully in the comments below. If this deep dive has offered you a fresh perspective on this powerful biblical narrative, please take a moment to like this video, share it with others who might benefit, and subscribe to